Most people live their lives inside a prison they can't even see. A prison made of habits, beliefs, patterns, not of iron bars but of invisible chains. They wake up each day with the same thoughts as yesterday. They drive the same roads, speak the same doubts, feel the same fears, and wonder why nothing changes. It's not that change is impossible, it's that they've forgotten it's their responsibility. The truth is brutal but beautiful. Most people never change because they never make the decision to change. Not the wish, not the fantasy, not the New Year's resolution that vanishes by February, but the soul-level decision that says, I will no longer live this way, and means it, and backs it with action, and bleeds for it if necessary. But let's be honest, that kind of decision is rare. Why? Because it demands something the modern world has slowly stripped from us. Ownership over your thoughts, over your time, over your attitude, over your growth. Without that, you're just a leaf in the wind, blaming the breeze. Jim Rohn once said, if you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. Yet most people act like they've grown roots into their comfort zone. They settle. They tolerate. They explain away mediocrity with the elegance of poetry. And slowly, silently, they betray their potential. But there is another way. Not easy, not instant, but real. And it starts the moment you stop asking the world to change, and start changing the one thing you can control: yourself. Before any battle is fought in the world, it's fought in the mind. The battlefield of the mind is where empires rise and fall. It's where Carnegie built steel out of grit, where Lincoln endured with nothing but conviction, where Edison failed 10,000 times and still whispered, I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. You must learn to think differently before you can live differently. You must unlearn before you can evolve, because the thoughts that brought you here cannot take you there. If your mindset is infected with excuses, doubt and blame, you will never escape the orbit of your own limitations. And worse, you'll start defending them. It's not that people can't change, it's that their default mindset has become so familiar, so comfortable, that discomfort feels like danger, and growth feels like loss. But make no mistake, comfort is the enemy of transformation. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. You cannot grow in soil that's poisoned by fear, and you cannot reach new levels of life with old versions of yourself. Your mind is not a storage unit for your past. It's a factory for your future. But most people are running it on autopilot, letting whatever comes in stay in. To break free, you must take control of your inputs, what you read, what you watch, who you listen to, because input becomes thought, thought becomes belief, and belief becomes destiny. Belief is the architect of your reality. It shapes the ceiling of your potential and the floor of your effort. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That wasn't a cute phrase. It was a warning, because belief is self-fulfilling. If you believe you're stuck, you will never look for the door. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll reject every opportunity that says otherwise. Most people never change because they never challenge what they believe about themselves. They carry old stories like sacred scripture, stories written by parents who projected their fears, teachers who underestimated them, friends who resented them, and years of failure that became evidence in a courtroom of self-doubt. But beliefs are not facts, they are permissions, and they can be rewritten. The moment you stop saying that's just the way I am, and start asking who do I want to become, you start the process of rebirth. You are not your past, you are not your trauma, you are not your mistakes, your paycheck, your follower count, or your resume. You are potential in human form, raw, volatile, and untapped. But belief is the key that unlocks it. Until you believe you deserve more, you will sabotage it. Until you believe it's possible, you won't pursue it. Until you believe you are worthy, you won't even start. And that's where most stay stuck, not in the world but in the invisible prison of who they think they are. Change is impossible without direction, and direction is impossible without clarity. Most people think they're stuck because they don't have enough time, money, or luck. But the real problem, they don't have a clear target. You cannot hit what you cannot see. You cannot reach what you cannot define. Clarity is the spark that ignites focus. It takes your energy, which is scattered like broken glass, and forges it into a laser. But clarity takes courage, because the moment you declare what you want, the excuses vanish. Now it's on you. If you say you want to write the book, then write the first page. If you say you want to build the business, then take the first step. If you say you want to change your life, then change your decisions. And this is where people hide. They avoid clarity because it reveals how far they've drifted. So they float. They react. They go with the flow. But rivers that go with the flow only end up at the ocean of regret. You must interrupt the drift. Sit with yourself. Without noise. Without distraction. Ask the hard questions. What do I actually want? What life would make me proud to live? Who do I want to be at the end of this story? Don't answer with cliches. Answer with truth. Because clarity is not just about goals. It's about alignment. Aligning who you are with who you're becoming. Aligning what you say with what you do. Aligning your vision with your values. That's the foundation of change. Without it, you're building castles on sand. Vision is more than imagination. It's not fantasy. It's foresight. The ability to see something before it exists and commit to bringing it into reality. Walt Disney saw castles in swampland. Martin Luther King saw justice through oppression. Steve Jobs saw a world in your pocket. When most saw a phone, they weren't just dreamers. They were visionaries with conviction. Vision isn't optional if you want to change. It's oxygen. Because the world will constantly try to pull you back to average. Without a vision, you'll obey. But when you have a vision that sets your soul on fire, mediocrity becomes unbearable. You stop settling for good enough. You stop chasing dopamine and start chasing destiny. You stop asking for permission and start acting with purpose. Most people live in reverse. They look to their past to decide what's possible. But your past is just a chapter, not the whole book. Vision says, I don't care what the past says. I'm writing something new. It gives pain a purpose. It gives effort a direction. It gives life a mission. You don't need to know every step. You just need to see the next mile. Because clarity and vision, together, give birth to momentum. And momentum is the antidote to stagnation. Purpose is what keeps you going when motivation dies. It is the internal fire that doesn't burn out. When the applause fades. When progress slows. When the world turns its back. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Motivation is cheap. It fades. It crashes. It burns in the first storm. But purpose endures. Purpose doesn't come from comfort. It's born in discomfort. It's carved from pain, built through struggle, and shaped in silence. When Viktor Frankl was surviving the hell of concentration camps, he wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." He didn't say they enjoyed the how. He said they survived it. Most people don't change because they don't have a reason strong enough to fight through resistance. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know who they want to serve. They haven't connected their struggle to something greater than themselves. And when the purpose is weak, the excuses get loud. But when your purpose is clear, when it grips you like gravity, nothing can stop you. You will bleed for it, fight for it, rise for it. You'll sacrifice sleep, comfort, ego, because something bigger is on the line. Purpose gives your suffering meaning. It turns wounds into wisdom. It makes every failure part of the mission. Without it, you're just surviving. With it, you're becoming. And when you're fueled by purpose, discipline is no longer punishment. It's proof that you're serious. Proof that you're not just another spectator of your life, but the author. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. It is the decision to honor your future more than your feelings. It is the habit of showing up even when you don't feel like it. Most people don't fail because of lack of goals. They fail because of lack of discipline. They wait for the right mood, the perfect moment, the magical burst of inspiration. But winners don't wait. They work. They understand that success is rented, not owned, and rent is due every day. Discipline is saying no when it's easier to say yes. It's waking up early when the world is still asleep. It's practicing when no one is watching. It's sacrificing what feels good now for what feels right later. People ask, how do I stay motivated? You don't. You stay disciplined. Because motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Discipline builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep your promise, you reinforce your identity. I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who does hard things. Without that identity, you will always be chasing a version of yourself that feels out of reach. And here's the hard truth. If you don't build discipline, you will default to distraction. If you don't train your focus, the world will train it for you. If you don't create your own standard, you will live by someone else's expectations. Change requires consistency, and consistency is the child of discipline. No magic, no secrets, just daily choices repeated with relentless conviction. You can have the perfect mindset, the most beautiful vision, the deepest purpose, but none of it matters if you don't move. Action is where transformation begins. It's where theory becomes reality. It's where excuses are destroyed by proof. Most people live in their heads. They dream big, plan endlessly, and start nothing. They wait until everything is perfect, not realizing that perfection is just procrastination dressed in logic. You don't need the perfect plan. You need a starting line. Action builds momentum. It teaches faster than thought. You learn more in one failed attempt than in 100 perfect ideas. Don't wait to be ready. Start messy. Don't wait to be confident. Start scared. Don't wait for approval. Start alone. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner. Every legend once asked themselves if they were good enough. What separates the change makers from the dreamers isn't knowledge. It's execution. You must become someone who moves. Not once, not when it's easy, not when the stars align, but daily, unapologetically, urgently, because every day you wait, the dream fades. Every day you hesitate, your doubt grows roots. And every day you delay, you become more comfortable in a life that doesn't inspire you. You want a new life, start building it. One decision at a time, one habit at a time, one bold and perfect step at a time. It might sound strange, in the middle of this fire, this war for your future, to stop and speak about gratitude. But listen closely. Gratitude is not weakness. It's not passive. It's not complacency. Gratitude is fuel. It turns struggle into strength. It takes your focus off what's missing and sharpens it on what's possible. You can't build a life you love if you hate the one you're in. You can't rise to greatness if you carry resentment like a badge. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding power even in imperfection. It's about saying, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I was, and that matters. Be grateful, not just for the wins, but for the war, for the nights you didn't quit, for the lessons that broke you, for the rejections that redirected you, because that gratitude, that deep grounded appreciation, becomes your anchor when the storm hits, and it will. Gratitude reminds you, I've survived worse, I've come too far, I'm not turning back now. It sharpens your eyes to opportunity. It softens your ego with humility. It keeps you climbing when the air gets thin, because without gratitude, ambition becomes entitlement, and with it, discipline becomes devotion. Life does not care about your plans. It will test you, twist you, stretch you, and shake you. The ones who rise are not the ones with the most talent, or the cleanest roadmap. They're the ones who adapt. Adaptability is not surrender. It is strength. It's the ability to pivot without losing your direction, to bend without breaking, to fall without forgetting how to rise. Look at Darwin. He never said the strongest survive. He said the most responsive to change do. And what is change if not life's way of checking your flexibility? The market shifts, relationships shift, health, economy, emotion. It all shifts. But when your identity is tied to old ways, old stories, old structures, you break. This is why most people never change, because they confuse consistency with stubbornness. They hold on to the same job, the same routine, the same mindset, even as the world evolves around them. But you are not stone. You are spirit. You are not a machine built for routine. You are a creator built for renewal. To adapt is to trust your ability to grow. To say this wasn't part of the plan, but maybe it's part of the path. To stop fighting life and start dancing with it. The oak tree that resists the storm is the one that snaps, but the palm that bends survives every hurricane. Don't cling to the version of you that life has outgrown. Let it go. Grieve it if you must, but then, evolve. Because freedom isn't found in control. It's found in the power to adapt, adjust, and rise again. Sharper, faster, wiser than before. At the heart of every transformation is this: resilience, not skill, not status, not luck, but the fire that says, I will not break, I will bend, I will bleed, but I will not break. You see, success isn't built on comfort. It's built on comeback, on the ability to crawl when you can't run, to whisper, I'm not done yet, when the world thinks you are. Resilience is forged, not found. It is earned in silence, in heartbreak, in rejection, in loss. It's in the days where the results are invisible, but you still show up, where nobody sees the fight, but you keep swinging anyway. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost elections, suffered personal tragedy, and still became one of the greatest leaders history has ever known. Why? Because the world told him, no, and he responded, watch me. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb by avoiding failure. He invented it by surviving failure. You don't become unbreakable by being untouched. You become unbreakable by being tested, again and again, and deciding you are more than your scars. Resilience is not the absence of emotion. It's the choice to keep going through emotion. It's looking your pain in the eye and saying, you will not define me, you will refine me. And here's the truth. The world isn't looking for perfect people. It's looking for people who can stand tall when the storm hits, because it will hit. Change demands it. But if you've built resilience, if you've trained your spirit to rise when it falls, no setback can stop you. You'll walk through fire and come out stronger. In a world that never stops changing, your greatest edge is your ability to keep learning, not just once, not just in school, but for life. Most people stop learning the moment they graduate. They trade curiosity for routine. They close the book. They settle into the illusion that they know enough. But the moment you stop learning is the moment you start decaying, because growth doesn't end at understanding. It ends at arrogance. Every master remains a student. Every day, every chapter, every mistake. Carnegie built steel, but he also built libraries. He knew that knowledge wasn't just power, it was freedom. And the truth is, every problem you face today, someone has faced it before and left behind a map. But you must seek it. You must ask better questions. You must read, listen, challenge, observe, not to be right, but to become wise. Learning humbles the ego. It teaches you that you are not finished, that every weakness is a doorway, that every failure is a teacher. People don't change because they stop learning. They think they've figured it out. But life will always show you how much more there is to know, if you're willing to listen. And it's not just about books or mentors. It's about learning from your own life, from your habits, from your mistakes, from your reactions, your results, your patterns. The question isn't, am I growing fast enough? It's, am I growing at all? Because the mind, like the body, deteriorates when unused. Keep it sharp, keep it curious, keep it open, because the more you learn, the more you earn your transformation. So now we return to the beginning. Why do most people never change? Because they never decide, they never challenge, they never believe, they never move, they never become. But you are not most people. You are not here by accident. You are not broken. You are not stuck unless you choose to be. You are the exception. You are the outlier. You are the one who dares to wake up, to break the cycle, to write a new story. Not because it's easy, not because it's guaranteed, but because the pain of staying the same that finally become greater than the fear of becoming more. So change, bleed for it, rise for it, sacrifice for it, and above all, stay in the fight long enough to become unrecognizable to the person who never tried. Because the world doesn't need more people who wish for change. It needs people who embody it. You can be one of them. Not someday, today, now. Because the chains aren't locked, the prison isn't real, and the door, it's always been open. Walk through it, and never look back.